Andy is my second born son. He was my risk taker. He loved all things that were a little bit dangerous. And when he was 20, he got his first motorcycle and he did really well with that. And when he was 21 in March, he got a faster motorcycle, and within 5 days, he was killed on it.
Hi there. Welcome to Piece of Work, the podcast. I'm Danielle Tantone. I'm a nurse, author, coach, and survivor. I love inspiring people to live their best life, reach for those big dreams, and find joy even in the pain. As I wrote my memoir over so many years, trying to make sense of a story where I was way too often the bad guy instead of the hero, I came to understand that we are all a piece of work, but we're also a work in progress. And even in our messiness, we are a work of art too, all at the very same time. In fact, we are all beautifully unique pieces of one masterpiece, waves in the same ocean. This podcast will explore the stories and struggles that make us human, the miracles that surround us, and all the ways we work to make sense of it all. Welcome to Piece of Work, the podcast. Welcome back to Piece of Work. Today I'm here with my friend Jenny McCall. Jenny and I have known each other a long time. We originally met in a running group, running and biking, and basically a triathlon group here in our neighborhood. And we became good friends. You get to know someone pretty well when you're riding next to them for miles and miles, or running on the hills for miles. And I was going through a lot of stuff back then. We became friends initially like 12 or 13 years ago. We've sort of lost contact. I haven't seen you in person in
Over
a long
10
time.
years, yeah.
But I've watched you on Facebook. I've watched her go through probably one of the worst tragedies that one can imagine if you're a parent, and that is losing your son 3 years ago, almost exactly. And I invited her here, and she was gracious enough to be here to share her story and share her life with you a little bit, because I've been talking a lot about resilience, and I can't think of anybody that I know that's shown more resilience and faith in the face of unspeakable tragedy. So, welcome, Jenny. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
And why don't you, tell me the story. We were just chatting and on the couch, and it flowed so effortlessly, and I want to kind of capture that, just kind of two friends catching up, and let the person who's listening hear your beautiful life.
Okay. Well, Andy is my second born son. He was my risk taker. He loved all things that were a little bit dangerous. And
I have one of those.
Yeah. And so when he was 20, he got his first motorcycle, and that's where he learned on, and he did really well with that. And when he was 21 in March, he got a faster motorcycle, and within 5 days, he was killed on it. So I don't know if you want to hear, there's two perspectives that I could share this story, and one is this perspective from what happened that day in his accident, or the other is what happened in our perspective that evening when we found out.
I think it's, if you're willing to share, I think it's great to have both, because I think the accident itself is, just kind of a wake-up call.
Yeah.
My daughter just left a few minutes ago, and I was telling her, you're going to want to listen to this episode, because I feel like, the thing that's heartbreaking to me as an outsider is just like he kind of had his life together. He was kind of getting his life together after, he was so young and had so much ahead of him, and then, just a freak accident.
Yeah. Well, so he had actually went from Scottsdale to Cave Creek that day. He wanted a new riding jacket, and he went all the way up and came all the way back, and no issues. But he was at the last stoplight. before he was home, and the road was open. He was first in line, so when the light turned green, he gunned it. He took off, and open road, open throttle, I guess. And so he had his music on, he put his head down, and he just enjoyed the ride. But what he didn't know was up ahead there was a dump truck that was getting ready. Well, they were turning left, and the dump truck did not see Andy. And that's very common. I'm told that we don't see motorcycles when they're going over a certain speed, and that speed is not very fast. So, and that's the tragedy, because a lot of motorcyclists are killed because someone didn't see them. And so this dump truck driver, he saw Andy when it was too late. He tried to gun it and get out of the way, and Andy did hit the back end of the dump truck. He died instantly. And the miracle around all this, we found all this out later, but I'm going to share it now. There was a young couple. They were also his age, and they were next to him at the light. And the guy had been in a motorcycle accident the year before, and his arm was paralyzed from it. And he looked over and he saw Andy, and he told his girlfriend, "Man, that's a nice bike. I hope he's careful." And then the light turned green, and they watched him ride off, and they were the first ones on the scene. So this young couple ran to Andy and saw that he was no longer here. And if you can believe it, there were people that were trying to videotape everything on the side. So this young man kept them away and made them put away their phones. I guess a nurse pulled up, and she had a blanket in her car. She covered him. And it turns out that nurse works with my neighbor.
Wow.
So
Small world.
That piece of the puzzle came later, but I feel like there's all these little God moments happening at the accident scene that I had the blessing of finding out about later, which helped me heal. Knowing he wasn't alone, knowing one of my previous coworkers was there. That's crazy. So there were a lot of people that were there with him when he crossed over, and it brought us a lot of peace knowing how people took care of him because we weren't there.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
So that's the accident, and then you said there was the piece from later. Was that what you shared already? Was that what you were going to share about?
No. So that happened at 2:50 in the afternoon, and we were supposed to meet Andy that night for dinner. So I had texted him, and he hadn't responded, but he also had his third interview with the Four Seasons, and I thought maybe they called him. He was actually waiting around that day to hear from them, which is why he was killing time going to get that jacket. So we had been at a church function that evening, and we got home at 8 o'clock, and there was a card on the door, and it said Department of Transportation. And it was a police officer's card. Well, we were like, uh-oh, what did he do? Like, because his motorcycle wasn't titled yet. So we thought he was in trouble because he was riding it before he had the title or whatever.
Yeah, that's what you would think.
That's where our minds went. And I do think they protect us.
Yeah.
Our minds.
So how did you ultimately find out?
My husband called the number on the card. He got a hold of the officer. The officer said, "Your son's been in a fatal car accident." And again, my husband was like, "Well, who died?" Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it didn't register that it was him that died.
No, he said, your son. And I wasn't there. Dave fell to the ground. He said he fell to the ground, and which is kind of crazy.
I literally can't even imagine getting that.
Because that's what I did. He came in and he just, and my daughter and I were in the kitchen. We're like, what's going on? And he's like, Andy's dead. And I screamed and fell to the ground. My daughter fell with me. And then my young ones came down the stairs because I woke them. And we told them what happened, and they started screaming, and my daughter took care of them. And it was just kind of chaos after that, you know, calling my parents. I wanted my mom, you know.
Yeah.
That was just, it's interesting because the anniversary of the passing, it's really not about, I mean, he was gone yesterday, he's gone today, he's gone tomorrow. But that night's the worst night of my life. And it's the emotions that come up remembering my emotions.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I can feel it. Just hearing your story, I can feel. I would scream.
Oh,
I almost want to scream right now.
It's, and so what I realized recently, because we were coming up to the anniversary and my kids still can't talk about it. Meaning when they know the anniversary's coming up, they don't want to talk about it. And I'm like, oh my God, it's not about missing him. It's about the trauma from the night. We still need to process that. I got EMDR 2 days later because I knew about trauma and EMDR, but I didn't think about the kids because, well, I thought it was my trauma.
Right.
And
everybody experienced it probably in their own
oh
way.
Oh my God.
And maybe even more for the, in a different way because they're younger.
Yeah. So
I can only imagine. It's like you miss him every day. You're like you said, he's gone every day, but that anniversary and that reliving that moment.
Yeah. So I'm a part of a grief group that's global called Helping Parents Heal. Mm-hmm. And there's words we're not allowed to say. So gone is one of them. So what I quickly learned how to do.
See, I said the wrong thing.
Oh my God.
But no. But that's actually beautiful.
Don't be sorry.
That's actually perfect because that's kind of one of I had a previous episode where I talked to somebody who says what not to say when someone who has cancer, and it's like,
oh right,
kind of the same thing. Like you probably are going to get it wrong. So
yeah. Well, and saying gone to somebody else is completely fine, and it's totally fine with me too. However, for the sake of the podcast, I just want to share.
No, I think that's wonderful.
Share my mindset with resilience. Yeah. You said like how have I got through this? Mm-hmm. I've gotten through this because my son is transformed, not gone.
All right, we're going to have to talk about that.
And now if you talk to my daughter, she's not there. She's like, he's gone, Mom. Yeah. He's gone.
Yeah.
And so everybody has their own way, and that's why there is nothing to say. Probably with cancer, you just you give them a hug and say, I love you. What do you need from me?
Yeah.
Usually it's just be here.
And don't say anything that starts with, well, at least.
Don't say anything.
At least you're not blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah.
Don't say that.
Oh, my God, yeah. Well, at least he's in a better place.
Yeah.
And,
there's no at least.
Yeah, definitely. You don't need. It's funny because people want to say something that helps. But,
well, and I think when you're somebody who is compassionate and who is empathetic and who does feel things, even if they didn't happen, like I want to say, well, yeah, because you even shared, well, he died instantly, so at least he didn't suffer. At least
right. Oh yeah, we got that.
Yeah, I mean, and it's hard not to because you do want to find a silver lining and find.
I know. I do think that. And I will tell you, like, on a personal level with you and me, there's nothing, like, I have yet to be offended.
Honestly, that shows your resilience and your grace more than anything else. Because so many people are so easily offended with much, much lesser things in life.
Right.
And the fact that you recognize that people are just people and they're just doing the best they can, and they're, you know.
Right. The intentions behind things is good.
And even if someone is evil and has, says nasty things, which I'm sure you have.
Well, I have heard it's time to move on, and I have, but the grief will never, ever go away. Yeah. That hole is there. It's just there, and it's just something that I've grown to live with, and I have moved on. My son is now my angel. My oldest son even made a joke about his holy brother, because it's because he is now. It's he's perfect now. Yeah. He can't do anything wrong 21. Now. I used to get mad at him, but now he's a guide in our lives, and he's transformed.
So tell me more about this transformed. What do you mean by that?
Well, so I'm Christian, so I do believe in an afterlife. I do believe in Jesus. I believe that we will all be together again one day, and I believe that he is just right on the other side. And there's serendipitous things that happen all the time in life, whether it's a deja vu or, I was thinking about you and then you called, and everybody has them. There isn't anyone that doesn't. Every day. Yeah. And so I just believe in the signs. So I have a lot of family photos at my house. Well, now, my photos of Andy are more when the lake was his special place. So we did his memorial at the lake, and my son took a picture at the top of a hill onto the water, and there's an angel on the water. I mean, the little riptides that come from the boat.
And it looks just like an angel.
Looks like an angel.
Yeah.
I framed that.
Yeah.
And there was another time I was hiking with my husband, and he took a picture of me and my dog, and for whatever reason, the sunbeam was on a rock next to me in the form of an angel. Wow. I mean, it just looks like an angel. I framed that photo. So when I look at it, I remember he's right here, Jenny. You just can't see with the naked eye. And so I talk to him. I pray to him, I cry with him, and he's always going to be there with me, and he's not human anymore, but he's still a part of my life.
That's beautiful. I mean, it really is amazing that you're able to do that.
Yeah. On his birthday, the first year I got everybody a birthday gift from him. And it was stuff that he loves, like soft blankets and just cool little things that he loved.
That's so neat.
Now we do a gift exchange. So we do a white elephant, and everybody gets an Andy gift.
Oh, I love that.
So we celebrate his birthday every year.
When's his birthday?
October 8th. So that's what I mean by, he's transformed, and he'll always be with us.
That is just beautiful and inspiring. But that's what I was talking about that is the perfect image of resilience. I always talk about resilience isn't being strong, it's being supple, really. It's being, it's good. Bending and enduring and then rising to an even better place. So I'm curious, 3 years later, do you feel like there's any ways that, this is maybe going to sound like a bad question, but any ways that your life is enriched by this experience or strengthened or better somehow? Again, maybe that's not.
So the enrichment of me and who I am, I am probably a deeper person. I was always pretty curious, but I do meditation with Dr. Joe Dispenza, and I'm an advanced meditator, and I've had some really cool experiences, and it's honestly given me unwavering faith.
That's amazing.
I am certain there is another. I know a lot of people are like, I believe, but there's always 1% doubt. I don't have 1% doubt. And part of it is my healing journey, and we can talk about that if you want. But,
Yeah, I'd love to.
So, now
Tell me about your healing journey. Okay. And I want to hear more about Joe Dispenza and how you got involved with him and what that looks like for people who may not know who he is.
Yeah. So Dr. Joe Dispenza is he's a quantum physicist and a doctor, and he teaches meditation, but he also teaches like what's going on energetically when someone meditates and what's going on with the deep breath work. Like when you take a deep breath in, your cerebral spinal fluid actually comes up your spine and into the base of your brain. And if you do it enough, you can trigger your brain to wash itself, which it does every night when we sleep. You can trigger the pineal gland, which is, some people believe that's where the soul lies. It's our antenna to meditate, to God, yes. And the pineal gland has crystals inside of it, which is pretty cool. Yes, it does. It has crystals in it. And so he teaches all this. He teaches you why meditating or prayer is another word for it, works, why it works. And so Andy and I did that before he passed. We were doing the seminars and everything. And so when he did pass, I meditated a lot, like 4 hours a day, because I could be with him. I could close my eyes, and at first I could see him clear as day in my mind's eye. And then over time, I would meet him like on a beach. So it's kind of like lucid dreaming. But it was how I was able to just disassociate from this world and be with him. And in the meantime, that kind of work is healing on the brain. It's calming. So I didn't use any kind of prescription medications like antidepressants or anything. I used the meditation to heal my brain. Yeah.
So how can someone who's listening who's just curious about this meditation, how could somebody maybe start on a smaller scale to explore this?
drjoedispenza.com.
He's got a couple books, right?
Well, oh my gosh, he's everywhere. So you can find him on all the big podcasts, but also if you're really serious, he has a website, and he no longer does his beginner seminars in person. They're on his website. So you can literally pay a couple $100, and that's what Andy and I did. We paid a couple $100, and we took the computer up to the cabin, and we did his meditation seminar at the cabin.
Very cool.
And we meditated together, and so he has all that.
Had that experience.
Sorry. Yeah.
So earlier you were telling me about that before Andy's accident, you had been on this journey toward mental health, and with a couple of your kids with you. So you'd already been through so much, and he was doing really well.
Yeah. Well, 2020 did a number on our family, as it did probably most people's family.
A lot of people, yeah.
Some of my kids were impacted more than others, but I did foster care. So a couple of my kiddos are adopted with trauma. And so going through the global trauma of COVID, getting handed devices, these kids getting handed laptops in elementary school was not a good thing. And so anyway, my husband had a cyst on his pituitary gland that burst, and he was in ICU in 2021. So we had a lot going on, and we went to Dr. Daniel Amen. He's a psychologist that does SPECT scans of the brain, so that before he prescribes, he actually looks at the brain instead of just asking you questions and guessing.
That's interesting.
And so I took my kiddos to him, and so I've really studied mental health, the brain, meditation, and Dr. Daniel Amen, he's all about doing what's natural first before prescribing. And one of his natural healing methods is meditating, hypnosis. So I knew I was on the right track with Dr. Joe. And Dr. Daniel Amen, I think he has a podcast. The two of them.
Everybody has podcasts.
Yeah, but the two of them have probably been together on something. And if they haven't, they should be.
I've definitely heard.
Yeah.
They're both on different podcasts.
Yeah, so those were my two doctors that I used to get through all of this.
Very, very, very interesting. All right. What else did I want to ask you? Like I said, I've just watched you process things. The other thing you do that I think is so important is you process things. I mean, I was going to say you process it out loud, but I'm sure you don't.
I do. I do.
And we're both, that's
do.
where we're similar. And I shared that when I shared a couple episodes ago, I was talking about dealing with my daughter's, addiction journey and how hard it was, because until now I couldn't share anything about it. She's been dealing with this for like a year and a half, and it's not something you can post on Facebook.
No,
because
it's private.
And it's not private. Yours. It's private. It's not my story. It's hers. And she was, a teenager, and the last thing she wants is her mom blabbing about her issues.
No,
so
that would be a nightmare.
That was really hard for me, because I'm an extrovert, and extroverts are not just bubbly and fun.
Right.
We literally process by talking things through, and so that was really hard. But I found ways as well. But you do it so beautifully. You use your words and write stories on Facebook about your experience, and it's not that you put a positive spin on it, because no one would call you like toxically positive or anything like that. It's very real and it's very authentic, but it just like the way I share, it has a hope, and it does have a positivity, and it's not a positivity like, oh, life is fine, I'm ignoring all the bad things.
Yeah.
But it's like sitting with the grief and also having hope, and also having something bright and a silver lining, I guess, so to speak.
Yeah.
And you've just exemplified that so beautifully.
Thank you.
And I have to say that, as you were sharing your story, and I was literally, I could hear you scream. I could see your husband dropping to his knees, and I could imagine that, opening that door right behind us and getting that same note, and I could imagine it so vividly, because I have imagined it over the last year as I watched my daughter go down a trajectory, and I knew exactly. And so at every turn, even when we sent her off to California to rehab, I was thrilled to do it, because I knew that the other option could have been finding out that she was dead.
Yeah.
And that maybe sound morbid, but it was like, it got me through it, because it was like, I'm trying to desperately to save her life. And actually having watched your story and seen your pain made it real in a way. I've had a couple friends who have lost children, but your tragedy, it felt like it hit home. It felt like Andy was the type of kid that my daughter is. Just the type of, in a lot of ways, from the things you've shared. And I hope still that, and it also has me holding things lightly even now. She's clean, and yes, she's doing well, and yes, she's on a better trajectory, but anything can happen. And so we just have to cherish the days, I guess. And what has it taught you about life, and like, what kind of lessons have you learned from this? I'm kind of putting you on the spot. But.
Nope, I have answers. The number one thing that gets me through is knowing that this can happen again at any moment, any day, any time. In my Helping Parents Heal group, I see the posts where it's, I just lost my second child. And I'm like, oh dear
How
God.
is that fair?
No, no. I mean, and at the end of the day, I still have my parents. And I just know that our time here, it's just precious. And so I focus on who's here.
It would be so easy to just say, life is so unfair. Why me? Why? How? How is that fair that one family gets to have 3 healthy kids that go into adulthood and have kids and live happily ever after, and another family loses 2 precious kids? Like, how?
Well, it's funny because, not funny, but I have a mentor in the fostering world, and she lost her son 1 year before I lost mine, and she has 9 kids. She is always advocating for children and like making a difference in children's lives. And so when she lost her son, I was like, oh my God, why would God allow that to happen? She is doing nothing but good. She is a servant of all these things. How could he let that happen? And then it happened to me. And someone said the same thing to me. Someone said, how can this happen? You do so much good.
Yeah.
How can it happen to you? And I just kind of realized that, like, everybody has autonomy. We can all make our own decisions in life, and our decisions impact other people who love us. Andy was speeding the day that he was on his motorcycle, not because he was constantly an erratic motorcycle driver, but because he had an open road and he was almost home, and that was the last light. So it just seemed like, hey, let's go. Woohoo. And so the people who love him pay the price for that. And that's one of the things. I go to Sun Valley Church, and Pastor Chad last week talked about, like, we don't just live our own consequences from our own failures and sins and bad choices, but we also have to deal with the choices of the people we love.
Absolutely.
And deal with that too. And so
I think for teenagers and young adults, it can be especially hard to even grasp that their choices will affect more people than just themselves.
oh yeah,
Like
yeah, teenagers will never get that.
And we were chatting about my daughter who just had a dirt bike crash and fell on her shoulder, and thankfully her shoulder's not broken, and we don't know yet what it is. We had an MRI today, and she's fine. She didn't break her neck, and she didn't break her legs. Her legs are bruised. She's alive, and she's fine. But I told her, she's like, well, I don't regret it. Well, I kind of regret it. And I said, well, that's the thing about choices you make. You've got to weigh the risks and the benefits and the you know. It's not always about, of course you don't want to just live life in fear, and she has that kind of personality where she wants to do things that are adrenaline seeking. She's
right. Adrenaline seeking.
Yeah, but
dopamine seeking.
And it's not always about fear. It's sometimes just a choice that you make.
Yeah, we all make, and I'm going to say the word, stupid decisions, stupid choices. We all do. Yeah. And sometimes it's words we say, sometimes it's actions,
Absolutely.
Sometimes it's, who we decide to marry, who we decide to have kids with, all that. Yep. All those decisions are very important, and they affect our lives forever. Sometimes.
And then sometimes we take a lot of time with those big decisions, like who we're going to marry, hopefully.
Yeah.
But we forget, we don't think, especially when we're young and carefree, we don't think about the little decisions like how fast to turn that throttle.
Right. Right. Well, we just don't think someone. Well, if you don't
like,
see someone turning left in front of you, you think everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
So it's just one of those things that I do think I've done a lot of. So there's another plug, John Burke. He is a researcher for near-death experiences. So I probably, what I did when Andy crossed over is I put the AirPods in and I turned on the podcasts, and I was like, I don't know where my son is, and I need to learn where he's at. So I listened to near-death experience books, and John Burke is, he was an atheist turned pastor.
Wow.
Because,
big switch.
Yeah, because his dad died, and when he died, he had a book on his nightstand about near-death experiences, and John read it, and it made him curious. So he studied over 1,500 near-death experiences and found all the different, and he has standards. Like, you can't just say, oh, I had this experience. Like, you have to be, for him to put you in his study, you have to be someone who has something to lose from your story, like a doctor, a lawyer, a pilot. You need to have been actually dead. So a lot of his people were, like, their hearts had stopped and there was no brain activity. One of them was underwater for a half an hour.
Oh, my goodness.
So it's not possible to have, like, an experience of the brain when you're gone that long. So there are so many fascinating stories, and I really dove into them. And John Burke has, two wonderful books and a podcast now. The podcast is newer. And so that brought me a ton of peace as well, is just hearing all of the not coincidences, but similarities of people who have had these experiences and what's happened when they...
So it brought you peace because you could imagine that that's what Andy experienced, or is
I know that he...
So you have a
I know
picture.
he had an immediate sense of peace and love, and there's a lot of other things that I know happened. But I do believe that when it's your time, I don't think that our Creator allows someone to cross over if their purpose hasn't been fulfilled. And I don't think we necessarily have, like, one purpose that, like, we're all here for. I just think that for whatever reason, he allowed him to cross and to go to heaven, because the boy that was with him when he died, that boy who was in the motorcycle accident the year before, he hit a UPS truck going 55 miles an hour. A UPS truck pulled in front of him, turned left in front of him, and he hit him going 55 miles an hour. And his arm's a little paralyzed. And that's it. He's cognitively fine. He walks.
Wow.
So why?
Yeah.
There is no other explanation.
Unexplainable, yeah.
There's only one explanation, and it's because it wasn't his time. And I don't like that it was Andy's time, but I just...
Yeah, you want your kids to have a long,
I'm certain.
healthy life.
Yeah. I'm going to go first. Yeah.
For sure.
So...
What else would you like to share with us?
I really just think the number one thing that got me through, besides, like, distracting my brain with all the learning and podcasts and meditation, there's something else. And that was just being outward focused. So I fostered 3 puppies right after Andy passed. And it's because puppies give you serotonin.
True.
And serotonin is what's in antidepressants, along with a bunch of other stuff that can make you, like, not well. So I intentionally tried to balance my brain chemicals with things that give me
Smart lady.
serotonin. So I do want to just, like, tell people that your child or the person that loves you doesn't want you to suffer. You're going to, when you lose people you love, like, that's not an option. However, it's okay to try not to. It's okay to get up every day and try.
Yeah. You're not doing them a disservice, or you're not disgracing their name by going on and living joyfully.
You want to know something that's crazy? is before Andy died, we had a lot of deep conversations because of the meditation seminars. And he said to me, if I ever go before you and you're sad, I'm going to haunt you. And I'm like, well, Andy, that's a ridiculous thing to say. And I found out he said that also to, he had a favorite teacher in high school. He told him, if I die before you, I'm going to haunt you in the shower. And that was my son. He was a goofball, but that's just weird, right? That he said that.
He would say that, yeah.
And so I know that our loved ones don't want us to, like, you know, lay in bed and cry every day, all day. Sometimes there's days that we have to, because that's what we need. But I'm just saying that traveling helps. So if you lose someone that's a part of your day-to-day life, traveling helps because you get out of your day-to-day life. And so you're not in your routine, and so you don't miss them as much. So that can help. And those are
distraction.
Yeah.
Traveling out, being more outward focused, doing things that build your serotonin naturally.
Yeah.
And by outward focus, I think part of that is what I mentioned earlier about the Facebook posts and just the writing that you do. Like,
yeah,
you're sharing your life in a way that is outward focused. It's not just like blah blah blah. Here's what happened to me. Yeah. It's like, it's an example, and it's an inspiration, and it's a picture of what grief looks like, and that it doesn't have to be all ugly.
And thank you for saying that, because I try not to post too much about that experience, because I don't want to be the person that everybody's like, oh, she's so negative. But I also like, it does, I do feel like people want to know how I'm doing, that I don't see every day like you, that know that we went through like the unthinkable. And I had to share when my daughter shared too, like, oh
that was so beautiful. Can you share that with us a little bit? Because that was what prompted me to reach out to you.
Yeah.
It was just the other day, and you posted on Facebook. It was a letter that your daughter wrote to
my daughter. My daughter posted it on Facebook, and I shared it. Because my daughter Andy and Lizzie, Andy was a middle child. So he was close to his brother and he was close to his sister. But his sister was the one, like, she was his little sister. So they were like buddies, and he was her person, because he would always need to go into her room to check himself out in her mirror, because she had the full length one. And Andy was like that. He liked all the fashion stuff. Yeah, he liked to look good. And he would go in if she had a brand new thing of chapstick, or, you know, like a thing of like Aquaphor or something. He'd go in and stick his finger right in the middle of it just to tick her off, and like just lay on her bed with her and just chill. And they were just really close. And when he passed, her friends didn't know what to do, just like a lot of people don't know what to do, so they went away.
That is so heartbreaking.
And she even had to hear, someone told her that one of her friends called her the sad friend, which, as a mom, I mean, I was just furious. I wanted to scream at all of them and say, why are you doing this? Like, she asked her best friend the night he passed, will you just stay here with me? Will you sleep over and just stay here with me? And she's like, I'll stay till you fall asleep, but I want to sleep in my own bed. And it's like, that's the mentality of a teenager, right? It's just like, and so for her, it's like a double trauma. And I don't think she's quite recovered from that yet, to be honest with you, because she wants to know why. And honestly, sometimes you can't explain why people do the things they do. Yeah. And
sure, there's a mixture of anger and sadness and grief.
Grief. Yeah. Yes. Well, that's what grief is.
Yeah.
It
is all those things, yes.
Right? So she's keeps busy. She has 3 jobs, and that was part of her post, is she said, I tell people I work 3 jobs just to be able to, afford life and have a good time. But the real reason is because I don't want to lay with my thoughts. And I want to stay busy so that I don't have to think about my grief over. And that, that was what she shared in her post. And it was really beautiful. And
It was
I think
very poignant, very well written, and, honest and human.
And as you know, as a mother, like, watching your children suffer is probably worse than you suffering. Like, well, it is.
It is worse because you feel it. You feel it.
There's nothing you can
for
do
them, and you suffer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
nothing you can do
Nothing you can
other
do.
than be there. So the puppies helped her too.
That's good. Yeah, puppies will help anyone. You reminded me that I saw someone had posted about puppies being available for foster care the other day, and I had sent.
I think it was me.
Was it?
Yeah.
I was actually thinking of maybe
Puppy
getting
love.
one. Yeah.
Puppy love.
Okay. I might have to talk to you
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
Are they still available?
Oh, they always have puppies. Always, always, always.
Because I thought fostering a puppy, that might be, it's a little bit of a lower commitment than actually getting a puppy.
Yeah, it's great because, a lot of times I found them homes. I found all the Andy puppies homes, all of them. And then people keep in touch and send you pictures, and that's super fun
I might
too.
have to do that.
So, you got to have the time.
We have
but-
2 older dogs. You don't see them here because they go back and forth with my youngest
Oh,
daughter
that's
to her
cool.
dad's and here. But we do have 2 older dogs. But she's always wanting a puppy, and I was like, hey, this might be a way
Yeah.
to actually have a puppy that I can get behind.
As long as you can. I have 2 foster fails. So I have 4 dogs because I have
Foster
failed.
fails.
I have failed at fostering.
Failed to give
But
them up.
a lot of them I find them homes.
Yeah.
And then too, like, after 2 weeks you're sick of the pee and the poop and you're
Oh, yeah,
okay
that-
saying, go.
Yeah, move on.
I need a break. Yeah. But it helped.
It's a lot like my job as a postpartum nurse. I get to swaddle the babies and change their diapers and show the mom how to breastfeed, and then I get to send them home.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome.
So, is there anything that you'd like to share that we haven't talked about? I know we were talking a little bit before we started recording about just business and life and how that's evolved. Given when you endure something like this, it's like you just don't have the patience for the little
Well,
things.
yeah, I'm in real estate, and so it's a different animal because you're dealing with other people's emotions, and they're selling the biggest thing they own, right? Like, it may not be their biggest asset. Some people would argue that a home isn't an asset, but it's usually where the most of their net worth is at, and so they get upset, a lot if someone doesn't want to pay what they want to pay or whatever. But I don't sweat the small stuff. If you're out there and you're mad because the pool's green, or you're mad because your refrigerator went out, or your washer, I will say, like, our washer went out a couple weeks ago, and I think my son was more mad than I was. He was like, what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, he's like, I don't have any clean clothes. And I'm like, you'll be fine. It's fine. And I just don't get upset about the inconveniences as long as I feel safe and my kids are safe and
You're still standing. You're
everybody.
here.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, so I think the biggest lesson is love the people that are here. Honor the people that are on the other side. Keep them in your life.
Yeah.
You can write to them. Sometimes you'll hear a little voice in your head. If you're like, I'll write something to my son, Andy, because there's a saying out there. My son has a psychiatrist because he has medicine for ADHD, and the psychiatrist said to me the other day, he said, you know what they say, keep them alive till 25. And I'm like, oh, Victor, I didn't succeed in that.
Yeah. You're telling me.
I have a child. But what he's saying is, like, our children, they make their own choices. And so, yeah, once they get past that hump and their brains are fully developed.
Yeah, their brain isn't fully developed till 25.
Yeah, so enjoy who you have and be careful what you argue over. Be careful what you get upset over. And appreciate the people that are in your life.
Yeah.
So,
good stuff.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for being here. This is beautiful and exactly what I was hoping to share.
Good.
Because I think it's, I've shared a lot about how I've gone through different things in my life, but this is something totally different.
It's different.
And I think it's worth saying that, we talked about how you've been outward focused, and I think that's great. And I think it's worth saying that different people are going to go through things differently. So it's okay if you're not so outward focused too.
Yeah. Everything's okay.
Yeah, that is a good point.
I think the things that I said today, you can take them or leave them, depending on where you're at. I can tell you, like, I have people that talk to me that are like, thank you, that was so helpful. And other people look at me like I'm crazy, literally. And it's just, that's why I'm very careful not to give one-on-one advice. I usually say, watch this podcast, tell me what you think, or read this book, tell me what you think, because we all are in different spaces and places, and not everybody has an awesome family like me. I mean, I've got 4 other kids, a husband of 30 years. All my parents are here and alive.
That's amazing.
I have sisters, brothers, all the things, nieces, nephews. Not everybody has that.
No.
And so just because, that's a huge part of why I'm okay, is all of them.
Yeah.
So.
Makes a difference. But it's also, life is what you make it, and life is what you focus on, and life is, you could just as easily be sitting here focusing on all the ways that that your situation sucks.
Yes, people were shocked that I didn't sue the company of the dump truck driver, and people were shocked. But the parents that I know that are in litigation over their children's death, they don't heal.
It doesn't bring them back. Doesn't do anything.
They don't heal, help. And I don't want to be there.
Yeah, no.
So I think nobody wants to be there, but I think that there are things that we can do, to climb out of it. So
yeah, this just ties in exactly with everything I've been talking about resilience, and it's not just getting through the hard things, but actually bouncing back better and rising with strength through the hardest things and through the little things, through the big things.
Yeah.
I tried to narrow it down to a method. I call it the 5R resilience method: refresh, renew, release, reconnect, and rise. And I could go through those steps, but you can kind of imagine what they are. I was wondering if you, like, when you're having a moment or a long-term experience or a small moment where you're needing to get through something tough, or even just you're about to lose your temper, do you have a process or anything that you've identified, short of like a 4-hour meditation session? Like, do you have anything that you do?
Half-hour ones, but sometimes I lose my cool, and that's just I love walking. I am a
I don't do the running as much anymore.
I don't run at all, because do you know what happened to me? 3 months before Andy died, I fell and herniated a disc in my back.
Oh, wow.
And so I had the most excruciating physical pain of my life. And then I had the most excruciating emotional pain of my life.
Wow.
All within a 3-month period.
Wow.
So my spine's fused, my S1L5.
So now there's no running for you.
So I walk. I think that's the number one thing that I do is get out in nature and walk.
Oops.
Whoops.
No. We need to go back down. We have a moving desk.
Cut. Yeah, so
Sometimes
nature,
the funny things are worth keeping.
and that's
Living out
like
in nature.
something doctors will tell you too, is you up your serotonin, oxytocin, dopamine if you walk
Connecting
in
with
nature.
friends is great,
Connect
too.
with friends. So I'll walk. I have a friend that will walk with me. I have a couple of them.
We
Walk.
need to do that.
Yeah, just
Add another to your list.
meet and walk.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
so-
talk, walk and talk.
But even if I get upset with a kiddo or something, I try to just grab the dogs and go for a walk. So for the neighbors out
Breathe.
there that see me
Yep.
walking,
Yeah, something happened.
it's just a part of my life. So, yeah.
Well, thank you, Jenny.
You're
This has been so wonderful. Tell us about where we can find you. I know you share all your stories on Facebook. Do you have a blog, or are you sharing it anywhere else yet?
No.
Maybe I'll help you write a book someday.
I'm part of a chapter in a book called Healing Through Broken Relationships.
Ah,
So
tell us about that. Where can that be found?
Well, Amazon.
Okay.
And it's a collaborative effort. There's multiple authors, and I just did a chapter on foster care. So at
Very
the
cool.
time, my resilience story was a little girl that I had from 6 to 9. I had her for 3 years. She was my first loss. And they sent her back to mom. And the story has continued, and it's not good. But anyway, honestly, I'm on Instagram and Facebook, Jenny McCall, Jenny Roar McCall. Jenny McCall 26 miles on Instagram, and I've laid low since Andy's passed. I feel like I've planted a lot of seeds recently. I don't know what I'm gonna do next. But we have an air conditioning
I was going to
company,
say
too.
we can plug that too, because summer is
Yes.
coming.
Yes, McCall's
And-
AC. Yep. And family owned and operated, and we, take care of people.
And we're here in Mesa, Arizona, in case you're listening to this podcast from across the
Somewhere else.
world.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
thank you again. This has
Thank
been
you.
wonderful. Any parting words, advice, truths?
Yeah, no, I just think you don't need to say anything, just be there.
Yeah.
Don't worry about saying the wrong thing. Just say, I love you and I'm here. What do you need?
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Piece of Work. We're all a piece of work, a work in progress, and a work
Yes.
of art, all at the same time.
Thank you.